getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Welcome in. It is The Bottom Line. I'm Rob Breaux alongside Lucas White. Ben Porman behind the glass. We've got plenty to talk about today. We'll talk through the Rangers and Astros weekends. They start new series today. The Rangers and the White Sox. They'll miss Davis Martin. But Davis Martin will face the Astros, who they play next, I believe on Friday. Not this Friday. Yes, this Friday. Astros, White Sox. Davis Martin. So you do have Davis Martin this week, not against the Rangers, but the Astros. I'll be rooting for, Davis Martin there just because he's a former Red Raider, no other reason. The Rangers will play a series with the White Sox off day, and then they'll play a series with the Mariners. That's a 4-game series, but the 4th game on a Monday, which is interesting.
Yeah.
It doesn't normally happen that way. Or at least that's what Jamie Lent said this morning. I haven't fact-checked him. We can talk about anything else. Obviously, the Open was this weekend. Ludwig
And
Ober.
real quick, that's going to be a very crucial series. Both of them are 50 wins, and they're both Rangers,
the Rangers
are
a half game up right now.
Yeah, right.
The Mariners 50-50.
That's going to be a big series.
And then I think the Rangers play the Astros in Houston. Haven't looked that far ahead, but is that true?
I
think that's
that is correct. No, they played Tampa.
Tampa, then Houston.
And then Houston.
Okay. That's a pretty good stretch of teams. Of course, the Mariners haven't been as hot lately, but you are looking at them as a team that's had a pretty good first half. And if you're looking at the back half of this season for the AL West, it's those 3 teams, Mariners, Astros, Rangers, that have a real shot. We might get into some buy or sell a little bit later on. Of course, there's more and more articles from the Passons of the world that are writing who should be a buyer and a seller. I don't always agree with those posts, but I have seen more and more that the Rangers should go get Luis Arraez. Just as a top-of-the-order, table-setting second baseman. And then Ezekiel Duran. Ezekiel Duran would be, I guess, the shortstop. And I don't know what they're going to do with Corey Seager. If Corey Seager would just man up and play first base or DH, which he doesn't want to do, or, hell, play third base, and you have Josh Young play first base or right field. I don't know. I don't know what you're going to do, but you don't want Corey Seager at shortstop long term. Sebastian Walcott's coming back next year in the field, but he's hitting 500 in 5 games back from injury, DHing. He already has 2 home runs and a double. He added 17 pounds of muscle in his rehab.
Wow. He's ready to play.
Well,
Wow.
I just hope they don't test anything.
I was going to say 17 pounds is a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
17 pounds like altogether, sure, but muscle,
That's what they said.
that takes a while.
They said 17 pounds of muscle. Well, he's had several months of just working out, so wouldn't shock me to do that. But
Do you think the Rangers won the trade with the Mets with the Semien and Nemo swap?
I think it's probably too early to say, but so far, the first half they did.
Yeah.
Even if you go back before to some of the other trades, it feels like the Rangers have gotten the better end of the Mets a couple of times in a row. Even with the Scherzer deal, because that kid came up for a little bit, but he's not doing anything anymore, is he?
No.
Is he even with the team anymore?
No.
Yeah. What was that, Acuna?
Yeah.
Acuna's little brother? Yeah, I have no idea where he is. Just in the minors somewhere?
I know he's not on New York, so it's just...
So it's, I mean, you and then go back to even before that. You've won 3 or 4 against the Mets which is nice because the Rangers usually don't win trades back-to-back against anybody. The Cubs bumped them twice in a row in the middle 2010s. I did have a bit of an issue in the end of the previous show. Was asked the benchwarmers. Somebody, I guess it was Bullfighter, asked, who would you add to this Rangers team from 2000 to 2010?
Yeah.
And then two of the names that somebody said were post-2010. Beltre came in 2011, and Cole Hamels was there in like 15 and 16. Unless he was thinking Cliff Lee, but Cliff Lee might have been there in 2010. If I was looking at this roster specifically and seeing who I'd want to add to this roster, I mean, Vladimir Guerrero as a DH would solve a lot of issues. You punt Jock Peterson into the sun. And then you're probably going after like a closer. I mean, Derek Holland maybe as a starting pitcher. Cliff Lee, obviously, at the end of that run. So I don't know. Two guys. I mean, you probably go pitcher and then hitter. But you didn't really have. I mean, you put Napoli at first base, Mitch Moreland. I mean, both those guys are splits guys.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going. You can go Ian Kinsler at second. I mean, obviously Elvis at short. Then you could put Duran back at second. But then what are you doing, Corey Seager? And then the outfield, I mean, Nelson Cruz. You put Nelson Cruz back in right. But are you going David Murphy or any of the center fielders you're working into that rotation? I don't know.
Would you not even entertain Adolis Garcia?
Josh Hamilton would be number one.
Yeah.
Adolis was post 2010 as well. I wouldn't really want to add Adolis back, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Hamilton would be first and foremost. That would be the easy answer.
Yeah.
He's a Hall of Famer. If he was a little more healthy. This whole thing with Tom Brady over the weekend.
I was going to ask you about that.
Did y'all talk about that at all?
No.
So Tom Brady slaps Logan Paul.
Which is what about more than half of America would love
Sure,
to do.
Probably. And this is all at Fanatics events. And then he busts out of a coffin like The Undertaker, hits somebody with a chair, with the weakest chair shot I've ever seen. And then they're at the World Cup game, and him and Logan Paul are flipping each other off.
Yeah.
I would assume.
You think this is genuine, or is it?
Oh, no.
Okay. Yeah.
No, it's a work.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
A fake. A shoot. Kayfabe. Whatever you want to call it. Not a work. Not a shoot. It's kayfabe. I would assume that Tom Brady is going to show up to SummerSlam and defend whoever is fighting Logan Paul at SummerSlam. Which we discussed this morning. Well, some headlines when we come back. We've got a question of the day and tell me I'm wrong later on. We also have some hot seat Big 12 coaches to talk about. More after this. 100.7 The Score. It's the bottom line.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back. Yes, it was Turkey third, Paraguay first. I knew that sounded wrong. Oh, let's see. The SEC Media Day is obviously starting early this morning, and it just seems like these guys are so disconnected from everyone else, and maybe they know what they're saying and are just specifically trying to ruffle feathers, because I am ruffled right now. And it doesn't seem like anybody else would be talking about it if they weren't trying to ruffle feathers, so maybe that's all their plan is. But Eli Drinkwitz from Missouri. By the way, Missouri, not a team expected to do anything in the SEC. Not a team expected to compete at the top of the SEC. Not a team expected to compete for a playoff spot. Not a team that anyone outside the SEC would think would do anything if they made the playoffs. He is saying that the Big Ten is only successful in the playoffs because... Why would you guess that he thinks the Big Ten is being successful in the playoffs?
Money?
No, that would be a good guess because that's probably a lot of what it is.
Yeah.
Indiana, Ohio State, Michigan all spent a bunch of money to get there. Texas Tech certainly spent more money than everyone else in the Big 12 to win last year. No, it's because the SEC plays a quality non-con opponent.
Period.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I want to strangle this dude right now.
So the SEC is already complaining about 9 conference games, and they're acting like they've been doing this for years. This will be the first year they have to do this. So these SEC teams that have lost to Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio State in the last 3 years in any kind of order, those teams were playing UMass and Charlotte and whoever else in week 10 or 11. That's what has been happening. Mercer. We're calling this the Cupcake Week. The Cupcake Week has been eliminated. Now they will play an SEC game late in their schedule, but the grueling 9 Power 4 teams that the SEC has been playing has just made them too darn tired before they get into any kind of Big 12 championship or SEC championship or national championship.
You know who Missouri has non-con?
Well, and now Kansas.
Yeah.
And now, we'll talk about that in a second. And now they have to play 9 conference games and what he's qualifying as a Power 4 opponent. And by the way, their Power 4 opponent that they have to play that he's complaining about, Kansas.
Yeah.
Kansas. Texas A&M is playing Arizona State. Arkansas is playing Utah. Those Big 12 teams are something. He's playing a team projected. We picked them to go 2-10.
Yeah.
They might win 4. And Missouri killed them last year, and they were much better last year. So, I don't know. It just seems to me that Eli Drinkwitz is just complaining, and he's over there with steak and lobster in the SEC, and they keep telling us they're the best league. They're the best league. They're better than everyone else. They're stronger than everyone else. They have a tougher schedule than everyone else. They have more money than most. But they don't believe in iron sharpens iron. They just want to say, we just want you to hand it to us because we have those things. Well, prove it.
Yeah. And you remember you got Auburn and Baylor too.
Auburn does play Baylor. Now, I would assume that both of those teams, similarly to what Kansas and Missouri are doing, none of those 4 teams are expected to compete for their conference championships.
Right.
So, I don't know. It seems to me that, A, it's a dumb shot at the Big Ten. B, you chose to go to the SEC, Missouri. You could be in the Big 12 right now. You could have stayed.
Yeah.
Now, not when you were there, Drinkwitz, so you've only known the SEC. But how would you feel if Venables or Sark was sitting there? Well, and Sark has been saying the same stuff over the offseason that there is a team out there in the state of Texas. It could have been SMU or Texas Tech, that he could go play that schedule with his 2s and 3s and make the playoff. Yeah, and you could have stayed.
Yeah.
You could have sacrificed some money and had an easier schedule. Which one do you want? Do you want the extra $20, $30, $40 million a year in media rights, or do you want to make the playoff every year?
Yeah.
Because you could have done that and stayed.
Can't have your cake and eat it too.
No, you can't. Those aren't the only quotes coming out of SEC Media Days. John Mateer was also talking today as the Oklahoma quarterback. And somebody asked him what it was like to read these SEC defenses. And he's like, well, there's no time to think. You just kind of have to throw it to the guy who's open. It's like, well, yeah. Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's true. I mean, there is some processing there. But do you think John Mateer is... Where do you think he ranks amongst SEC quarterbacks?
I would say top 7.
Yeah, people are going to say Arch.
Yeah.
I think Trinidad Chambliss is top 3 in the SEC, if not number 1. He was really good last year.
I like Gunner.
Gunner Stockton at Georgia.
Yes.
I think John Mateer's up there with that group. I mean, if there was tiers, he'd at least be in the second tier. I don't think he's dropping too far past that. It's funny, DJ Lagway was listed at like... Where was he listed?
Lenore Sellers. I forgot him.
Lenore Sellers is an interesting name. I'd like to see him get a little more consistency. You also have Marcel Reed at A&M.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like Lagway was in some sort of, I don't remember if it was a national list or just a Big 12 list, but he was up near the top of this list. And I guess it was a Big 12 list. And some SEC guy was like, he wouldn't even be in the top 10 of the SEC quarterbacks. And so I found him like 6 lists from last year, heading into last year, where Lagway was 1 or 2.
Makes sense.
SEC
yeah.
quarterbacks. We also had a quote from Greg Sankey. You ready for this one? The SEC's Greg Sankey asked if it's real about SEC breaking away or just a negotiating ploy. He said, it's real. The frustrations for some that bring them to a point of saying we should look at something different significantly. So he's saying that the SEC could legitimately break away. What does that look like for you, Lucas, that the SEC breaks away?
As a Mississippi State fan?
Sure, yeah.
More pain and torture.
I mean, would they just set it up? I can't even picture how they would do it. If it's 16 teams, you're trying to play 12 regular season teams.
Yeah.
So would it, if they truly broke off, would it be you just split them in half, 8 and 8, and then you play 4 from the other side every other year?
Yeah.
And then at the end you have a little playoff to determine the SEC national champion?
That's the logical option, I guess.
I don't know if logical's the word I would use.
No. There's no logic there at all.
I mean, some TV company, ESPN would pay for that.
Oh, without hesitation.
So I would assume it's probably more real than people want to believe.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back. The Bottom Line, 100.7 The Score. Hour number 4 with Jamie Lent today.
What a thrill for you.
And Ben Ford. I got up today and I was like, man, I hope Jamie's in for Sneed. So we can do 5 hours together. I have a dumb question. A lot of my questions are, Jamie.
It's allowed.
I'm looking at SEC Media Days here. Now, SEC is the best conference. They do it the best. Everybody's talking about how good their media is. It's like it's in a small ballroom, these press conferences. Mm-hmm. And the stage looks manageable. I mean, it's just not a massive stage. Unlike the Big 12. And it's just a little podium in the middle. Why can't we get that done for Big 12 Media Days? I mean, the Big 12 Media stage is way too big. And I guess, did you go over to any of the press conferences? Or we were on air most of the day.
Yes, I did some.
Oh, you went to the round table at least?
Yep.
They're 60 yards away, it seems like, potentially.
From
the back of the, like it's 40 yards from the back row to the stage.
I see what you're saying.
The stage is 6 feet tall. It's a massive stage. They're in the middle. It's a full jumbotron behind them. I don't know. It just seems a little over the top there at Frisco.
Okay.
And it was...
Is that them just trying to fill the space?
Maybe.
Is that little man syndrome?
I think so. Because you don't see the SEC doing it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably is a little bit of a venue thing.
I never really thought about it that much, to be completely honest with you, but you're making some sense.
I mean, it just feels like we could pare down the... We also saw them just throwing away, the Big 12 just throwing away a bunch of easels and stuff that they could...
Yes.
Like, how rich are we? Just throwing away perfectly good
Well,
easels.
yeah, I mean, we got Monster Energy money.
I guess they didn't want to store them anywhere, is the deal. It costs more to store them than to buy new ones.
That seems crazy.
I don't know. Just couldn't think of any other reason. They're talking about Kentucky here on TV. Will Stein from Oregon, the Oregon offensive coordinator, going down to Kentucky. The Oregon defensive coordinator going to Cal. Do you think there's any drop-off from Oregon with two brand new coordinators?
Yeah, I mean, did they hire within? Did they promote other guys? I mean, I would expect a little bit, or at least maybe they won't be clicking on all cylinders right off the bat. But talent is talent, and Oregon's got talent. So I don't think I expect a significant drop-off, maybe a tad.
The offensive coordinator, Drew Mehringer, he joined Dan Lanning's inaugural coaching staff at Oregon as the tight ends coach. He is known as one of the nation's top recruiters. He is called one of the top young offensive minds in college football with an impressive history coaching multiple different positions. He was once the youngest play caller in Power 5 at Power 5. Graduate assistant at Iowa State and Ohio State. Where was he play caller? Texas.
What's his name?
Mehringer.
Can't say as I remember him.
This guy has an incredible resume. I've never heard of this guy before. So he's a graduate assistant at Iowa State. Then he was a graduate assistant for 2 more years at Ohio State. He's the co-offensive coordinator at James Madison. Oh, here it is. He's the wide receivers coach at Houston in 2015. He is the offensive coordinator at Rutgers for a single season in 2016. He's the wide receivers coach and passing game coordinator from 17, 18 to 19 in Texas with the Longhorns. 2020 co-offensive coordinator, wide receivers coach at Florida Atlantic. I'm assuming that's back with Tom Herman.
Probably so.
I'm assuming this is Tom Herman at Houston, Tom Herman at Texas, Tom Herman at FAU. Then he's the quarterbacks coach at New Mexico before joining as a tight ends coach in 2022 with Oregon. And now he's promoted to offensive coordinator. So that seems like a solid hire. He's been with the system. He's been on the team. He has called plays before. Seems like he's been at a lot of places with a lot of different coaches to learn.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a good spot for him. And then they also have Rashad Samples, running backs coach, who's been a lot of places. And then Chris Hampton is the new defensive coordinator. Chris Hampton does not have his resume listed. He was added to the staff in 23. And he's been the co-defensive coordinator and the safeties coach. And he comes from... He was the guy that Shilwood took over in Tulane.
Okay.
So Shilwood took over for him in Tulane. Then you had Tulane, Houston, Texas Tech the last 3 years. He's been at Oregon 23, 24, 25. So yes, they promoted from within. Now I do believe Will Stein took some of the offensive staff to Kentucky,
That wouldn't be shocking.
including the offensive line coach. Cutter? Leftwich?
Okay.
Mac's brother?
Is
Cutter?
it really?
Gunner? Cutter? Cutter.
You got me.
It's a fun name. So Leftwich goes with him to Kentucky. I watched a
So
little
Kentucky lost one cutter and got another cutter?
I guess so. Yeah, they lost the quarterback. And gained an offensive line coach. I think he went with him. So he took a couple of coaches. I'm sure the defensive guy took a couple of coaches, but it does seem like Oregon is replacing not as much as you might expect, losing both coordinators. If you're looking at a coach like Will Stein, obviously you have some new coaches in the Big 12. Do you think Will Stein can go in and have a little bit of success at Kentucky in the SEC?
Does he have a top-notch quarterback?
He got a highly recruited quarterback from Notre Dame to follow him to Kentucky. And he had good stats at Notre Dame, but he was never the guy. He's all, inflated kind of garbage time stats from, I think his name is Minchie.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't see him like an immediate, they're like a challenger or anything like that for the playoffs. I mean, are they a little bit better? Possibly. That just feels like that's going to take a little time.
I just really like Will Stein's offense.
Okay.
I mean, it just seems so simple. A little straightforward, I guess, as far as the concepts go. I really liked it. Those couple years at Oregon, it just seemed like they knew what they were doing. All right, we'll continue on with the bottom line when we come back. We'll look at something we brought up earlier, some Big 12 hot seats. Some hot seats.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back. 100.7 The Score. It is SEC Media Days. I'm sure David Collier is having a great day today on the end of the bench. SEC homer that he is. He'll probably be texting me. I was asking Lucas earlier who would be some of the best, like where would you rank John Mateer in the SEC quarterbacks? You know, I've always thought that the SEC didn't have great quarterbacks. I mean, it just never seemed like the SEC was a place to go get a bunch of great quarterbacks. Now, obviously, linebackers, edge rushes, running backs, receivers, safeties, corners, a lot of those guys coming out of the SEC.
Defensive linemen just galore.
Yeah, certainly. But it didn't ever feel like the SEC was the home of a bunch of great quarterbacks. Obviously, Joe Burrow, Matt Stafford, two of the guys in the NFL right now that came from the SEC. But it does feel like right now there's a pretty good collection of quarterbacks, and maybe that's because there's just not a lot of great quarterbacks across the board, and so it feels like they've caught up a little bit. But it does feel like at the top there's probably 8 quarterbacks that you don't really want to put one on top of the other. Obviously, everybody's going to say Arch Manning.
And Levitt.
Is Sam Levitt now from the Big 12
And
going over there?
And Chambliss.
Trinidad Chambliss was in my top 3.
Gunnar Stockton.
Who is a name that Lucas dropped out of Georgia. Lenore Sellers is another one from South Carolina.
I'm not just enamored with Stockton. I am surely not enamored with Lenora Sellers.
Yeah.
I think he's way overhyped.
Sellers has the build,
Yeah.
but he hadn't come up with the consistency yet.
He has to have a make or break year.
Well, I would say those three that you mentioned were your top three. I think there's a gap between the rest of them after those three.
And
I would put
Chambliss, Manning, and
Levitt.
And
I would probably put Mateer and Stockton in that next group. I got Sellers a little bit farther down.
Yeah. A lot of people are talking about the Mississippi State quarterback.
Camario.
Yeah. Well, and you also have Marcel Reed at A&M.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of quarterbacks that might lead their coaches to be fired, the hot seat rankings have come out for all of college football. I compiled the Big 12. This is from CBS Sports. Let's go from least likely to be fired to most likely to be fired. Now, this is on a ranking of 0 to 5.
Okay.
And it's no surprise, at least to me, that the first three names on this list are guys who have not even shown up for a game yet. You're not going to get fired in year one. So you kind of get the benefit of Jimmy Rogers, Colin Klein, and Eric Morris of just not getting into year two yet. So it's basically a free space from them. Colin Klein at 0.5, which I think is accurate. That the guy, he's going to get all the rope.
Plus he's legacy. He's,
all the leash. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because of who he is, what he's done, where he's coming from, what situation he's coming into, he has a much longer rope than even Gene Taylor. Now, if Colin Klein fails spectacularly in year one, it might be Gene Taylor's job that gets axed first.
Okay.
Eric Morris 2, Jimmy Rogers 3. The next three coaches on this list, who would you predict? Who would you predict?
The least likely
to be fired, or at least the furthest from the hot seat.
Okay, let me think here. Furthest from the hot seat.
The furthest from the hot seat.
I would think Joey McGuire will be in the next three.
Joey McGuire's not in the next three.
I would think Kalani Sitake.
Kalani Sitake is the furthest from getting fired. He actually is the furthest from getting fired. When I was parsing these out, it had some parentheses in it, which threw off the rankings. He is actually at 0.3. So with his new deal, he is the furthest from getting fired.
Okay. So that's what you're asking me for here, a list of the ones that are the furthest away.
Uh-huh. And Joey McGuire is right after these guys.
And I'm not counting the three that you just mentioned previously.
Right. Yeah, we'll go through the whole list.
Arizona State.
Yes, Kenny Dillingham. At 0.9.
The third one. And it's not Joey McGuire.
It's not Joey McGuire's at a 1.4. Again, this is out of 5. Think of a program that has a little less expectations than Texas Tech, but has perennially had too high of expectation with some of their coaches.
West Virginia.
They're next at 1.5. It's Houston. So Houston and Willie Fritz is at a 0.7. So the three new coaches and then the returners, BYU, Houston, Arizona State, Texas Tech, West Virginia, the bottom of the list. Scott Frost is at a 1.6, down from a 2 last year. And I think that's more so, hey, they're gonna see if this works. Okay. I don't think that UCF's in a position to be firing people.
Probably not.
Is more of what it is. Brent Brennan was at a 4.2 going into last year.
I bet that's cut in half.
Out of 5, it is more than cut in half at 1.8.
Yeah.
1.8. Sonny Dykes, we're getting into the top 5, most likely to be fired. Sonny Dykes was at a 2.7 last year. He's down to 2.1. Lance Leipold was at a 1 even last year. He's doubled to 2.3. Then before you even get to the 3s, you're in the top 3 of the conference. And if I had asked you just straight up, who do you think the top 3 most likely to be fired, I think you'd give me these 3.
Deion Sanders.
Yes, he's at 3.1.
Or Rich Rod.
Well, Rich Rod is 1.5. So Satterfield is left at
Satterfield.
3.5.
Okay.
And then Dave Aranda.
And Aranda.
Red hot.
I was waiting for him to be at the very end.
Red hot, 5 out of 5. Literally the most hot a seat can be, they have Dave Aranda. Mm-hmm. Now, they go through it and they say, you know, there's guys like Brent Brennan who were red hot at 4.2 and then do enough to cool their seats off completely, because Brent Brennan's not really going into this season with any kind of firing pressure. Now, if they do have, you know, a 6-6 year with this responsibility, it could be that they fire him. But I think he's done enough to at least say, hey, I need some time to figure this out. We'll get it all figured out, kind of thing. But I think a 6-6 year would be pretty tough for Brent Brennan to survive. But, you know, Cincinnati, if they go 7-5 again, is it just like, all right, this guy's always going to go 7-5? Is that good enough for us? That's the conversation we need to have.
I don't think Cincinnati has the money to be just paying people to go away.
Now, if Luke Fickell gets fired at Wisconsin, he's another 5. And he's like, hey, I want to come home. Can we figure this out? Do you think they move on from Satterfield just to bring Luke Fickell home?
Maybe.
Have you mentioned Mike Norvell yet out of Florida State?
Well, this is a Big 12 list.
Or Big 12. Yeah.
But Mike Norvell, Luke Fickell, and Baylor's Dave Aranda are the 3 coaches with a 5.0 hot seat rating, which is the hottest seat possible. It was also unanimous rating across the experts.
Gosh.
Maryland's Mike Loxley was a 4.9. Shane Beamer is a 4.3. North Carolina's Bill Belichick a 4.1.
That would be crazy to me if they fired Belichick after 2 seasons. That means you're basically just saying, hey, we took a flyer on this to see if it would work.
Yeah.
And we're certain this is not going to work.
So it's interesting, too. Satterfield's ranking went from 4 to 3.5. Deion Sanders heading into last year, post Travis Hunter and Shador, was 0.3.
Now
he jumped to 3.1.
Wow. I think people just don't think he's going to last long either way, whether it's getting fired or just retiring.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back. 100.7 The Score. It is the Bottom Line. About an hour and a half left before we turn it over to Tech Talk, Double T 97.3. Of course, they'll go all the way to 6:30 tonight as the Texas Rangers will play the White Sox. Davis Martin missing the Rangers this weekend, but he will pitch against the White Sox on our airwaves. 100.7 The Score Friday. No?
He'll pitch against the Astros.
What'd I say?
The White Sox.
He'll pitch against himself. He's going to
trade for the White Sox.
He's going to trade into the Astros on Thursday. He'll pitch against the Astros for the White Sox on Friday. How about that? Is that true?
Well, he pitched Saturday, so...
He is lined up to pitch Friday. I looked at that.
Okay.
Just make sure the teams are right.
Let's go, Davis.
All right, let's ask a question here.
How'd the Astros do this weekend?
They got swept.
Time now for Jamie's question of the day on 100.7 The Score. Brought to you by someone not named Jamie and presented by Connecticut of West Texas. Life's hard, your water shouldn't be.
At some point in the last 30 minutes, I got called typical Big Ten Rob, and I don't know why. All right, question of the day, gentlemen. On ESPN, they wrote an article, Could NFL Backups Compete? And they brought in a bunch of backups from each team and built a team and said, could this team make the playoffs in the NFL? Well, I'm asking you, Jamie, Benjamin, would an all Big 12 team, sans Texas Tech players, be favored against Texas Tech? So you're taking the best of the other 15 teams and putting them against Texas Tech. Would they be favored against the Red Raiders?
Just the fact that you're asking this question speaks to how high the talent level, how high you rate the talent level of Texas Tech compared to other schools in our conference. I'm going to say the all Big 12 team would beat Texas Tech.
I think so too, because really this is just saying, hey, take BYU and then put two or three top players from every team onto BYU.
Yeah.
And see if they can beat Texas Tech. And I think that would happen. Or at least they would be favored, I think, with that kind of lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I fall into that same...
I don't think it would be a blowout, though.
No.
I think it'd be a game.
I mean, because you're looking at the all Big 12 team, and it's mostly Red Raiders on the first team, especially the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I fall into that same line of thinking. Even though Tech has the talent like all across the board, I still feel like the top guys in the Big 12, like a Noah Fafita, like an LJ Martin, like some guys up and coming, like I think there's a tight end from Oklahoma State and also another one from Kansas State, and then just all the guys on the defensive side of the ball. Like there's even a safety from Baylor that could raise some eyebrows. But with that being said, I fall into that same line with you guys that I do think that an all Big 12 team would beat Texas Tech, but it's not going to be a blowout like you guys said.
Yeah. I think Texas Tech quite obviously has the best defensive line in the Big 12. Like, it's really not even close. I think they have the best linebacker.
Interior, and edge.
I think they have the best linebacker room in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they have a top 3 secondary in the Big 12. So I think any collection of players you could put together on the Big 12 would be just about as good as Texas Tech is on defense. I think offensively, at quarterback...
Just more proven at the quarterback position. More proven at the wide receiver position.
Probably. And then LJ Martin is just as good as what you have.
Yeah.
And he's coming off an Offensive Player of the Year campaign. And then obviously you can build an offensive line better than Texas Tech's, just because you can pick the 5 best offensive linemen the rest of the conference has to offer. Mm-hmm. And I think you could build something maybe not way better than Texas Tech's, but I think you could build an offense better than Texas Tech's. I don't know that you could build a defense better than Texas Tech's.
It'd be close. I agree with your thought that the defensive line and the linebackers are the best in the conference. So it would be hard to beat your front 7.
All right, so let's add the Red Raiders back into the all Big 12 team. So I want you to think of an all-star, all Big 12 team. So this is basically Fafita, LJ Martin, some of your offensive players, your defense with some stars like Satuala and maybe some of these linebackers as depth pieces from across the land into your defensive line and linebackers. Would an all Big 12 team win the SEC or the Big 10?
That I am less sure of.
Until it actually happens, it remains to be seen.
Well, it's never going to happen because you're...
Right.
Yeah.
But Ben, actually, you could say that about anything in the world, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this.
Mm-hmm. Until Evelina smacks you in the back of the head, it remains to be seen whether she's going to smack you in the back of the head.
We can make that happen. She's right in there.
Yeah. Ben's got better had eyes in the back of his head now. She kind of looks like she wants to do it.
She's a little bit wily.
Yeah, she's feisty. I'm going to say no.
So, Texas Tech did not look like they would win the Big Ten last year because their only opportunity against the Big Ten team, they got shut out.
Right.
But couldn't you argue, Jamie, that if Texas Tech last year had Noah Fafita or Bear Bachmeier or Sawyer Robertson or Sam Levitt healthy, and maybe Jordan Tyson healthy last year, just talking about last year. Like if you had Sam Levitt, Jordan Tyson.
I was going to say, it's going to take more than the quarterback position because there weren't any wide receivers that were open either.
Right.
It wasn't just the quarterback that struggled against
Certainly.
Oregon.
Yeah, you weren't creating space.
There weren't any offensive linemen that were just, picking up, stacks and stacks of pancakes because they were opening up holes for Cam Dickey.
Sure.
I mean, it was a complete meltdown on the offensive side of the ball.
Certainly. I think it's really hard to win the SEC. You had basically an all Big 12 team at Ohio State last year, and they didn't win the Big Ten. They got beat by Indiana. So,
yeah, I'm going to say no.
I would say it'd be really close, and they'd certainly have the opportunity to, but you have to get it done. Mm-hmm. So I would say if you took an all SEC team, they would certainly win the Big 12.
I would agree.
If you took an all Big 10 team, they would certainly win the SEC.
Yep.
Or the Big 12.
Yep. Especially if they could use
that it works the other way.
Especially if you could use the Michigan Scouts.
Yes. I do think an all Big 12 team would compete and be competitive in both of those conferences.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But I think if you took an all SEC team, it'd be like, okay, yeah, that team's winning a national championship.
Yeah, I think you're probably top 2 or 3 in each of those conferences.
If you did take an all Big 12 team, let's just keep going. If you took an all Big 12 team, who would be the coach?
My number one coach in the conference is Kenny Dillingham.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Okay.
Mine would be Kalani Sitake.
Okay. I'll take Joey.
No.
We all might as well just take our own, huh?
Sure.
I mean, if I'm picking third and I get Joey McGuire, I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, sure. That's a good pick. Yeah.
But I think that's the top 3. Mm-hmm. We've done this on a couple of shows this summer. I think that's a pretty easy top 3, and I would put Joey and Dillingham in the first tier because they have Big 12 championships.
Sure.
I think Kalani Sitake's done enough in the Big 12 with some back-to-back really successful seasons to be in the conversation. Obviously, if he wins the Big 12 this year, he'd be number 1.
Mm-hmm. I
think Fritz, Dykes, those kind of guys are right after.
I think there's a bit of a gap between 3 and 4. And the only reason I give Dillingham the edge is I just think he won it with a lesser roster than Joey McGuire has won it with.
This has been the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 100-7thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.